The global climate talks to be hosted by the UK in Glasgow in November are now less than 2 months away. And today, the UK government minister in charge of the conference, Alok Sharma, has been meeting his counterparts in China. As the world's fastest growing economy and a major polluter as well, China will be an all-important voice at the negotiating table. So what are the main challenges facing those trying to forge a new agreement at the talks? Our science editor, David Shukman, has this assessment.
Year after year, the countries of the world have gathered for huge conferences on climate change. I've seen for myself how they can go wrong, like in Copenhagen in 2009. So what's on the cards now for Glasgow? Well, the first challenge is to get rapid cuts in the gases heating the planet, something that just hasn't happened so far. Back in the early 90s, when climate negotiations started, about 35 billion tonnes of greenhouse gases were being emitted into the atmosphere every year. And since then, despite all the talking, those emissions have just kept climbing. Now, with all the plans and promises to cut them, they could fall to about 46 billion tonnes a year by 2030, but the science is incredibly clear that they need to come down far more than that if we're to have any chance of heading off the worst effects of higher temperatures, which is why this is such a crucial issue for the talks in Glasgow. Next, there's the question of financial help for the poorest countries. This is long overdue. It's developing nations like the Philippines that are hit hardest by climate change. They have been promised $100 billion a year, which they say is vital to adapt to more dangerous conditions.
We want to see adaptation finance flowing to climate vulnerable nations that bear the brunt of extreme weather events or climate change, but had no reason to cause it.
A third challenge is finalising the rules for measuring carbon. Previous meetings haven't managed to. This matters because as countries cut their emissions, there needs to be a way of accounting for that. Likewise, if forests are kept untouched to store carbon, that also has to be recognised.
Right now, for example, if a major company wanted to, say, invest in preserving standing forest in the Amazon, there's not yet any clarity on whether those credits that would be generated from that can be claimed by Brazil as well as by the company making that investment.
So as Glasgow prepares for thousands of delegates, there's a lot at stake. COVID makes it all more difficult, and there are just 8 weeks to get ready. David Shukman, BBC News.